What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today's video is going to be a quick one. We're going to be installing a dash cam on my wife's GL. This is actually a dash cam that I had on her previous vehicle that I'm now reinstalling into her GL. The dash cam we're installing today is going to be a Rexing dash cam that comes with a rear facing camera. I don't know that I'm going to go over installing this rear facing camera today because I want to try to find some place inside the car to mount it to where it's not attached to the rear window and isn't going up and down when you move things. I think I'm going to mount it somewhere in the roof in the back, facing out the back window, so it can still see things when you have the hatch open. But these are pretty straightforward. 12-volt power source, usually a cigarette lighter, a little sticky pad here that mounts it to the windshield, and then the dash cam itself actually mounts to this bracket. This is a Rexing kit. I'll put a link in the description down below. There's a lot of different companies out there that make these dash cameras. This is one I bought on sale a year and a half ago from Amazon. It was on like super saver day sale. I think it was on Amazon Day or Prime Day or something like that. Anyways, they also sell smart wiring kits for those that instead of plugging into a 12-volt outlet will tap into a constant power source, such as like hooking right up to the battery. But what they're capable of doing is detecting the battery voltage from the car running versus not running, because the battery voltage is actually higher when the car is running versus not, and it turns on when the voltage goes up when you start the car, and then when you shut the car off and the battery voltage drops off, it will stay on for 30 seconds to a minute and then shut off. But it doesn't shut off completely. It goes into like a low power state to where it's still there to turn on for like sentry mode, but it's smart enough to know not to draw completely when the car is off. So I'll put a link in the description of those as well. Rexing makes ones for theirs. A lot of the other companies make one as well. I believe some of them, even though they're brand specific, can be used with other cameras. But like I said, I'll put a link in the description to them down below. But other than that, we're gonna go inside the car and I'm gonna start getting this dash cam put in. All right, so we're on the passenger side of my wife's car. I didn't get this lucky in the previous car, and I actually had to like make my own plug connection in order to plug my 12-volt outlet in. That was kind of hidden. It was tapped into a 12-volt plug connection, but it was hidden up underneath the dash. This car luckily has a 12-volt power plug up here underneath this trim panel here that turns on when you turn the key on and start the car and drive it, and then when you shut the key off, within like 5 seconds of shutting the key off, loses power. So I'm going to plug that 12-volt plug into this, and then we're going to run our wiring up along this trim panel here, and then we'll run it up along the dash, or along the end of the dashboard here, up the pillar here, and across and over to the roof. So I'm going to start finding a place, working on getting a place to mount that camera up on the windshield, and then I'm going to show you guys where I'm going to route the wiring. All right, so I've done a little bit of tear down. I took the mounting bracket here for the corner of the sun visor out, and I loosened this one so I could get some play out of my headliner here to be able to tuck the wires up in here along the top. Otherwise, there's adhesive from the windshield here kind of blocking you from pushing up in there, putting the wiring up in along the headliner, and I didn't want to pull on the headliner and flex it up here along the front because you run the risk of like creasing it or breaking it. So I pulled that out. That's two T25s on this side, and then this side is a single T25. In the middle here, you have to pull this little trim door down. And then I popped the weather stripping loose here so I could see up and along the headliner here, and then I pulled this trim piece out. I just pulled on it once I pulled the weather stripping out this way. I don't want to pull it out of the way because I think there's some plastic tabs in there that are holding it at this point. I don't want to risk breaking them. I know that there was a metal tab that was holding it back over here along this edge, so the metal tab's not going to break, but I think there's either plastic tabs here and or the trim is glued to the sealant for the windshield. I've seen that quite a few times when people put windshields in these cars. They'll put so much glue in there that they actually get it onto this trim pieces here, and the trim piece itself is glued to the windshield. So I don't want to risk trying to break this piece. So I'm gonna leave it the way it is. I'll route my wiring up through the headliner here from this direction and pull it through over here on the other side so that it's not gonna risk hitting the having to pull this off. And then I'm going to come across the front of the windshield here, and I pulled this trim piece off of the rain light sensor on this car. It's actually just got two locking tabs here that hold it in place, and then these little brackets here where my fingers are on both sides actually slot over top of these tabs right here, these two metal tabs. So I pulled it forward and off of there, And I have the ability now that I can flex this up enough that I can run my wiring over top of this piece of trim and tuck it up in the headliner back here. And I'm gonna put the camera on this side. And the only reason why I'm gonna put the camera on this side is so that when you're driving, you have access to being able to hit the record function. So that camera records in a loop of 60 seconds, but if you have something happen in front of you that the camera, say, doesn't pick up on, or like say somebody else in front of you gets in a car accident and the camera doesn't start its auto feature, and because of the accident from you, say somebody in front of you gets in an accident, you want to record it, there's actually a button on there that you press that starts it recording, and when you press that button, it'll save the last 30 seconds prior to that, and then 30 seconds going forward as well. So I want access to that button, and I don't want it to have to be way on the passenger side where you have to reach over. I want it to be right in front of you. So I'm gonna put that camera on that side just for that reason. You guys can make the choice for yourself whether or not you want to put it on that side or this side. So I'm gonna work on getting my power wire here ran through this headliner here and up along so I can run it out the front, and then I'm gonna run along the front and run it over here to this other side. All right, so I had a little change of plans. Like I said, I initially was gonna mount it up here, but I didn't really want it like in your field of view, obstructing anything. Although there's not really much you're seeing out the windshield looking up this high, I didn't want you to have to see it every day. I kind of wanted it to be out of sight, out of mind until you need it. So I actually mounted it up underneath the mirror here. And my logic on that is that when you're sitting in the driver's seat looking forward like you are, you don't really see it. So the camera right now is at my like eye level, and you can see part of it hanging out underneath the mirror, but you're not gonna see it. It's not obnoxious, it's not in your way on a regular day-to-day basis. But then if you need to hit record, it's easy access. It's right there. You can reach up there and hit the record button if you need to record something that happened in front of you. So I like this placement better. I got the wire plugged in, I got it tucked up through the trim here, and then it's running through the headliner here over the other side. Ignore my sagging headliner. It's on the list of things to get fixed. And then I'm now gonna run the wiring as you see it's hanging here. I'm gonna run it down this pillar, down the side of the dash, and then up along the trim underneath here and over to this plug port here. So we're gonna go to the passenger side and get that wiring run. All right, so as you saw there, I got the wire run down this pillar. I ran it behind this trim piece here. I pulled this seal back all the way down to the bottom, and then I ran it up in this crack here where the glove box opens. I actually had to pull this trim piece down. There's 3 T20s across the front that hold it in place. I unscrewed it, pulled it down. I was able to run my plug connection through one of the holes here for the floor air for like heating and air conditioning. I ran it through and out, and then I tucked whatever excess wire I had up inside this piece back here. I tied it off a little bit so that it wasn't gonna like be all crazy in there if you ever had to pull anything down. But ran it through there, got it plugged in, everything's all set up. So now that we're done, we'll be able to turn the key on and get the dash cam to come on. And then, like I said, it comes on, it starts recording immediately. It'll record in 60-second loops. You can set it up in these dash cams. If you watched my previous video where I installed it, I kind of showed you guys how to go through it and set everything up. And then turn the key off, dash cam shuts off. So I'm happy with where I've got that mounted up at. I like that placement. I like my plug connection. Everything's tied up. I've never used that plug. I actually didn't even know that 12-volt plug was underneath there until I started looking into where to power up that dash cam from. So obviously I've owned the car for a year and I've never even used it. It's not going to be a big deal that that thing's plugged in there permanently. I'll do another video in the future where I wire up the rear camera. Like I said, I had the rear camera in the past mounted on the glass on my hatch, and the wiring was running up into the headlining, and then every time you'd open the hatch the wiring was just hanging, and I didn't like it. I got to figure out another place either inside the car to mount it or run the wiring through the wiring harness for the stuff that's on the hatch. I don't know if I'm going to do that or not. Like I said, the rear camera is not really that important to me. I like having the front facing camera so you can see what's going on in front of you if an accident happens. Other than that, I don't got anything else to do on this car today. If you guys have any questions about this video, please comment down below. I would appreciate if you guys subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you later.
Come, selector.